I'm Erin Pavlina. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Today I'm here with my friend Kevin.
Howdy.
And he's going to ask me some of the questions that you guys have sent in through the website. So let's hit it.
Very good. Rudy's got an interesting question about an entity. Rudy asks, I can feel an entity that joins me in bed shortly after I go to bed. Can you tell me who it is?
Rudy, I can tell you exactly who it is. That's actually one of my specialties. Aside from being an intuitive counselor, I'm also a paranormal investigator, and I have a ton of experience with the occult, the paranormal entities specifically. So if we were to do a reading together, I would be able to tell you exactly what it was, and it might not be a who, it might be a what, and what we're going to do about it. So hit me up if you want to know. And if anyone else out there has a similar situation, yes, I can help you with that.
Very good. Pat has a personal question. Pat wants to know, how old were you when you realized your gift to do readings?
Oh, interesting. I was 36 when I realized I had enough of a gift that I could share it with other people. I have been intuitive my whole life. From the age of 4 is when I first noticed I knew things other people didn't. I would have prophetic dreams, deceased people would come to me. I thought everybody had this. I thought it was very normal, but it wasn't until I was 36 and a couple of things happened where I realized I could tune into other people's guides and helpers and angels and stuff. So one of them was a friend of mine handed me a photo of a woman he had just met on a business trip. And he said, you know, what do you think of her? And all of a sudden, as I looked at her picture, all this information came through. And I'm like, is she like this? And she's like that. And she does this and she does that. He's like, how do you know this? I said, I don't know. I just know. And he's like, well, you're right. I said, that's so trippy. And then another time, another situation was something that I've written about in my blog earlier with a friend of mine or a relative of mine who was on a reality show. And every time I saw him on the screen, I would hear sort of this voice in my head saying, you know, tell him I'm sorry, tell him it's not his fault, you know, tell him I love him. I'm like, who is talking to me? But I started writing down everything that I got, and I shared it with him at some point, and he said, I'm just shaking, this is astounding. I said, is this somebody you know? And he's like, yeah. And he explained it all to me. It's very private, so I don't want to talk about it on camera too much, but so that's when I thought, I had no idea I could do this. And it just really snowballed from there. I'm like, well, if I can do this for, you know, 2 people that I knew, I wonder if I can do this for people I don't know. And so I started practicing with people I had never met, and that went very well. And I took it from there, and 6 months later, I had sort of opened up shop as a professional intuitive, and that was in 2006. Here we are today.
And your readers can get a reading with you by booking through your website, is that right?
Yes, go to the website, lots of options. Yeah, whatever you guys want.
Very good. Maybe related, is there any relationship between some kind of a head injury and an awakening of some kind of psychic power?
I believe there can be. I had an incident when I was 4 where I fell off our kitchen stool and it came down and landed right on my third eye, cracked it right open. So that fact is not lost on me, but I definitely know there are many, many, many other intuitives who did not have a head injury before they became professional psychics.
And so you do not recommend that as a pathway?
No.
Okay.
No, let's not do that.
Okay, very good. Janie wants to know, is it possible for a kitten I adored and had to put down to come back as my son? The kitten is the reason I changed my mind about having a baby after the kitten died, and my son has character traits my kitten had.
That's a very interesting question. I can't say for sure that animals don't come back as humans, but I can say I personally have never experienced that or been shown that or been told that. What might be happening for you is the way that you adored and treated your kitten is probably how you're adoring and treating your son. And so maybe some of those characteristics are coming through because of how you're treating him. So it might be a situation like that, but I can rule out that it's not the kitten coming back as your son. It's just not something I've experienced before.
Okay, an anonymous reader asks, do you think we're given an idea on what we will look like before we incarnate?
Oh, that's a good question. Before you incarnate, you're going to choose your parents. know some of you are thinking, why would I have chosen these guys? We might have to get into that later, but you made the choice. And so because of that, the combination of possibilities of what you're going to look like are sort of in there. You know, maybe some ethnicity and things like that. Hair color, eye color, the DNA stuff. So you will have some idea of what you might look like. Some people ask me, do I get to decide in advance if I'm going to be a boy or a girl? Not necessarily. As a spirit, you're not going to care so much about what your gender is, because you're still going to be able to satisfy your life intention no matter what you're born into. But for the most part, your body is going to be determined by the DNA of the parents, and you're not going to have as much of a choice or influence on that. But it's totally fine, because you are going to be able to do what you desire in this life, no matter what kind of body you're in.
Okay. Our last question comes from Norina, and Norina asks, when a celebrity or huge public figure passes away, do you sense this before the world finds out? Oh,
okay. No, for the most part, I do not. Now, I have been in contact with deceased celebrities, but it's usually after they die. And that is because they broadcast information out, like you're playing a song on radio, and I just happen to tune into that broadcast. So I wouldn't say they're coming to me directly, but I have the ability to tune in to their broadcast, like their concert, and I'm able to tune in and see or hear what they're saying. But I have had 2 instances that I can recall where I did know a famous person was about to cross over. That was Amy Winehouse. At some point I saw her on a video, and it just hit me, this woman is not going to be alive in a week. And she wasn't. She died within that period of time. And it was kind of strange and random. So maybe if I am looking at a celebrity or a person and they are on some kind of collision course with the end, maybe I would see that. And it just hasn't happened very often. The other situation was Debbie Reynolds. When Carrie Fisher, her daughter, died, obviously that was very devastating. I'm a big Star Wars fan. But when I had tuned into Carrie, there was a very strong sense I had that Debbie's gonna go too, real soon. It's almost like when Carrie's thread was cut, Debbie cut her own thread. I'm done. That was my life. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be with my daughter, and she went. So I think those are the only 2 I can think of that I seem to have knowledge ahead of time that it was coming.
Have you ever been able to, with a public figure or anybody else, and this idea you shared with us about them broadcasting information, have you ever been able to compare notes with a colleague, a fellow psychic, and who may have picked up the same broadcast?
I wouldn't say I've done that. I don't think I would have thought to bring it up. I do sometimes get intuitive information when I see a celebrity doing an interview. So sometimes I can tell if somebody's headed for trouble. Sometimes I can tell what they're experiencing and who's impacting them and where they might be headed, but that's kind of just a natural part of the gift that I have of being able to tune into people and know what's happening and what all their different trajectories are. I actually did a reading once for a gal who sent me a photo of a celebrity, and I'm like, why is she sending me this photo? But she knew this person personally, and she had a relationship with this person, and she was asking questions about her relationship, so she had sent a picture of this person. And I tuned in, because that's what I do during readings, to whoever they're asking about, and I received information about this person's career path, something that was very imminently approaching, and then it happened. But I had told her on the phone, I see this is very likely to happen in the next few weeks, but please tell him it's going to be okay. He should not quit his job. He should stay where he is. It's going to work out okay. Tell him, do not worry. Everything's going to be fine. And she's like, okay. And it was fine. I don't know if she told him, but it was fine. And he did very well for himself.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today.
Great. Well, tune in next time. We'll have some more questions, and please feel free to submit your questions on the website, erinpavlina.com. Thank you, Kevin.
Pleasure as always.